they had Google Maps on a game drive?
Yep.
So that was Google Drive, not a game drive.
Not a game drive.
Google Drive.
Imagine having your guess what on Google Drive and expecting to experience a game drive.
Yeah, so there is no that authentic Safari experience.
It's not authentic experience.
Mine was like a baboon came and snatched a camera from my guest. But today I'm not telling my story, it's you telling your story. Welcome to my Safari podcast, and this is Safari Mania. And in this podcast, we'll be talking about tourism matters. We are talking about tour guiding stories because most of the time tour guides are the ones who spend a lot of time in the bush looking for animals, and they also spend a lot of time with the guests. And during their time, they experience a lot of unusual behavior, be it animal behavior, be it client behavior, and we are here to talk about their stories. And with me today, I have an experienced tour guide who has been in the industry for so long, and I'm very sure he has seen a lot in terms of animal behavior and also the relationship between guests and sometimes guides, and also the expectations that the guests come with. And so he's going to be telling us his side of the story, what he has seen, and enjoy. Okay, Frank on Safari. They call you Frank on Safari. Welcome to Safari Mania podcast. So tell us your experience in the field and whatever you've seen, which is unusual.
Asante sana. My name is Francis, but in our industry, everyone always have to have a nickname.
Yes.
So they call me Frank on Safari. Basically, if I may say how the name Frank on Safari came by.
Yes.
So basically, when all my friends call me, they call me and they ask me, where are you? Where are you? So that's where the name came in. So they say, hey Frank, you're always on Safari banner.
Oh, so like, you mean when they're calling you on radio, that is the radio that you use during the tour?
When they call me on
your phone.
So they always, Francis, where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Okay.
So they were like, Frank is always on Safari. And that basically how the name came in.
Okay, Frank. So I'm sure you've seen a lot in the tour guiding field. Maybe you want to tell us, the viewers, also some of your experience with wildlife, or sometimes with guests, or sometimes something which has happened to you while on safari.
Oh, I don't know where to start. But
you can start anywhere. Start anywhere.
But the most recently that I can remember was actually, it was a privilege to guide some guests coming from Australia, and it was just the expectation was again. You know, when you are booked your safari and you're coming to Kenya, and basically the excitement is up on the roof, so you are looking to experience a lot.
Yeah,
so,
some guests sometimes they have an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah. But these guests basically, by the time actually was going to guide them, so what will happen is that they had traversed through not only Africa, but it was in Europe, it was in America. It was basically a long safari. And one of the things that they wanted to see was actually an amazing sunset.
Oh.
So, of course, me always on safari, and I was thinking, wow.
So you had to make it happen?
I had to make it happen. And first, apart from making it happen, I had to look to a place where actually it would be amazing.
Okay.
But yes, I got a place amazing, but I also blundered.
Yes.
So basically, I was crossing to go and see a wildlife.
Yes.
As I was coming back, the sun was just
about to set.
Yes. And we were actually crossing a tributary of the Mara River.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what?
Yeah, we call them lagers. You got stuck or what? Tell me.
So basically,
yes.
The rule of thumb is that by the time you do cross a river,
yes.
you basically have to lock your hands.
Yes.
But with the excitement, everything was just perfect. As if I had called God and to make sure that the sun has to come down at the perfect hour. I did the mistake of not locking the hands. So I parked the car in the middle of the river so that you can get the sun and the reflection of the...
Oh my.
Now the problem was not that. We got some amazing shots,
yes.
And basically they were so happy. Now the trickiness was coming out. So since when I parked, I actually one of my springs got caught rock, but I didn't know. So the time of now leaving from the middle of the river to go to the other side of the lager,
And you're also trying to
I was
rush back to the
stuck
hotel.
and I have to rush back to the hotel.
It's getting dark.
It's getting dark.
Oh my goodness.
What we actually photographing when the sun was coming down, we had some hippos, also we had some crocodiles.
Yes.
Now I haven't looked the up. I have to continue.
Yes.
There's no way I literally have to come out.
And was there anybody around you to help you or no?
Apparently, I just
According
chose
to-
a very unique spot.
You're just by
I'm
yourself.
just by myself. I have to come out of the jeep. I have to go lock the hub on my right side and also on my left side. But now the problem is, were just done photographing some hippo.
Yes.
We had some crocodiles on the bank of the river, and now I have to come out. So of course like crocodiles.
Yes.
These things can just sneak into your.
Yes, and then grab
And
your
by the
leg.
time you realize
Grab
it's
your
too
leg.
late, fella.
Yes.
So I had to basically come out of the jeep. It was one of the most scary, but also adrenaline popping. But I didn't come completely, so I had to hang half of my body inside the jeep and half of my body outside, so that would be able
So
to.
what about the guests at this time? What were the guests like? Their behavior like?
The guests were like, "This is what we paid for." You can't make this stuff up. It was just an amazing experience. I was able to lock the hands, but for them that was an amazing experience. But for me, that was one of the nitty gritty. I just
So
felt,
did you manage to get out of it, or how
So
did it go finally?
So yes, I locked the first hub. When I went to the second hub, which was on the side of the sunset, which also the hippos were. So the moment they saw me, they come running, and I had to go again back. My time is not on my side also, because I have to also be back at the camp. So I have to wait and wait and wait. Then, of course, with the help of my guest, I basically had to look for me, spot for me if the hippos are coming or not. And then I just had a few seconds where I just dash in the water, locked, come back, and then engage the four-wheel and out of the lager.
Now, that must have been quite an experience. Now, explain to somebody who doesn't know what to do in case of a wildlife attack or in case of an animal approaching you in that situation. What should one do? Somebody who has never been to a national park, doesn't know what to do. Maybe he was just following a tour guide before or an experienced tour guide, and then he got himself in that situation. He's stuck in the river, and then there are hippos nearby, and there are also crocodiles looming. What can you advise such a person to do?
So one, that will not be a good experience for that person, because one, that is his first time, so he's in a element that he's not used to. So, but this is what I will tell you. Basically, what you do is that first, if you have your people inside the jeep, the most important is actually letting them become the lookout. So they look out for you. What I will tell them, once they are up, then that's the moment where you're supposed to either try to unlock your hands or try to look for help, or if maybe you need to push the car, that would be the moment. But inside the river, it's a serious one.
Okay, that is good. And me, I also had like some sort of similar experience, but mine was like a baboon came and snatched a camera from my guest. But today I'm not telling my story, it's you telling your story. Yeah, so Frank, you're telling us about the baboon story, because I'll tell my story in a later episode. But, baboons are very mischievous creatures,
Very mischievous.
So what happened with your baboon?
So
Baboon
this is
story.
a very interesting story.
Yeah.
So I was also privileged to guide, and some of my clients were actually tour leaders like myself.
Yeah.
And some of them were doing these safaris that you go for almost 28 to 30 days. You come from all the way from Egypt all the way to South Africa.
Oh yeah, Cape to Cairo.
Keep to Cairo.
Yeah.
And most of us they have some incredible experience.
Yeah.
But on this one, it was totally different.
Yeah.
So basically, we were actually traversing, and one of our destinations was in Lake Nakuru National Park. And as Lake Nakuru National Park, the baboons are actually known to be, they behave in a different way that we have actually studied. And as we usually say that most of these animals don't read the books.
Yeah.
Basically, we are the ones. So sometimes they give us experiences that are outside the norm. So one of my guests, I tell them that, especially because we had to do a pitch the tent, and then once we did pitch the tent, we had to go for the evening game drive, and we had to leave the chair so that we prepare for us the meals. And like in Nakuru, we have public campsite. So what we did is once we pitched, I asked one of my guests not actually to leave, not to pitch the tent immediately, but we wait a little bit later so that we can pitch the tent. But he was like, no, I have to pitch. This is the rule of thumb. I was like, no, boss.
This is Africa.
This is Africa. This is my territory.
Yes.
So you basically have to take my guidelines really serious.
Yeah, I know that some guys still don't really listen.
Yeah, so
Don't-
you say,
don't like
nah, Frank, you're full of crap. So I'm gonna basically do as what I've been trained to. But I told him, like, baboons in these destinations, they actually do not follow some of the norms that you actually know about these baboons. Basically, he did it. We went for the evening game drive. He was the only one actually who pitched the tent. So all of us came back to pitch the tent later. But now the sad part about it, we left the chef
Alone.
at the camp as long because as he tried to prepare for us the meal for the evening. When we came back, so the baboons basically they came. Of course, he had left some snacks inside the tent. So since those tents were also again a little bit, they're not that strong. So they entered, they were able to maneuver the way.
Oh yeah, those creatures are mysterious. They know they are very, very smart.
Very smart.
So they opened the tent.
They opened the tent. So they basically caused a lot of damage. And baboons, as much as they're also mischievous. So once they do the thing, they always pee. So they literally leave the evidence to know actually
We are here. We
I
are
was
here.
here,
Yeah.
and it's like we're not afraid of you.
Yeah.
And the sad about it, they even took it an extra mile. So when they were leaving, they literally almost unpitched the tent and went with it up the tent to the first branch. So when we came back, he was furious. He was like, no, the chef is the one who has done that. And since the chef was like, he saw our conversation, so he basically was like, he videotaped it. So he had evidence. And the chef was not able to speak very fluent English. So he could only speak Swahili, which is also our national language.
Yeah.
So they were not communicating. So he blamed the chef. The chef is the one who has done it. And the chef was basically sabotaging and making sure that the rest of the part of the trip he actually follows what I said. But it was like the chef told me like, nah, these are actually baboons.
we should blame the baboon.
We should blame the
baboon for everything.
Just the way guys says that they don't get my homework.
Yes, so the baboon had everything.
The baboon literally destroyed his tent, and the chef had it on camera, so we actually saw the tape, and from there was like, so Frank, what am I gonna do? I was like, no, the baboon has already smelled your scent, and basically they're gonna come for you.
Okay.
So it was all by the way, but he literally bought it, and he didn't sleep on the tent. He actually slept on the track. But from the rest of the safari, he actually knew he was in a territory that was actually out of his comfort zone.
I know in the experience that you've gained over time, the experience doesn't come just like that. It doesn't come in a flash. There must have been a starting point for you. So, being a safari guide, first time in the field is not normally rosy. Unless you are following a convoy, but if you're on your own, it's not a good experience. I'm sure you must have experienced something. Tell us.
Let me tell you. Actually, my first experience, and for the guys who are coming up, it's not easy. So no one was born knowing. My first experience was just, I would say extraordinary for this reason that I'm going to explain.
This is the knowledge that you got in the books or the knowledge that you're about to get in the field?
The knowledge that I'm about to learn first-hand experience.
So the book knowledge, that is a different experience.
Different experience.
Now you welcome to the real experience.
Real experience.
Okay, that's the one that I want.
So one, There's an inquiry.
Yeah.
Frank, you need to go, you need to start experiencing the bush.
Yes.
So I get to the destination. The destination is massive.
Yes.
So of course, getting to the camp, that's the easy part of it.
Yes.
So getting to the camp, it's just using the main road. Mostly on the main road, I get to the camp.
Yeah.
So my guest, the next day, I'm doing a full day game drive.
Yes.
On the full day game drive, I can't stay on the main road because mostly the animals are not always on the main road.
Yeah, they are on the inner tracks.
Inner tracks.
Yes.
And those inner tracks, it's a network of roads like
zigzag, 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 zigzag.
Big time, big time. So
Yeah.
because I know this is my first time,
Yeah.
I have my guests know that this guy he actually knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
and this destination he knows it like the back of his hand. But of course, this destination for me is also very new. I'm not used to most of the destination completely, so I come to the camp very early.
Yeah.
So I start looking for the big cats,
Yeah.
and you know the pressure.
Yeah, I know the pressure of finding
pressure
cats,
is
the big cats,
my
especially
guess
lion,
basically
leopard,
like-
cheetahs. Oh.
They want the big five.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is almost like my second drive of the destination. So I'm literally new. So I start my drive. I get my first sighting. Now the sad part about it is that I have an amazing sighting where everyone's exactly that. Basically those are my colleagues. And since we always have a radio where you can always communicate, especially if someone is looking for something different that you have gotten but they haven't. So I radio call it. And I said, guys, I have a rhino.
Yeah.
And basically guys are like, "Ooh." So the radio becomes very amazing because I'm the first person to see a rhino. But the sad part about it, I have no exactly where I am.
So you call in on the rhino, and then you do not know how to direct them, or you don't know what to tell them where to come.
So I don't know where I am. So I know the direction of when I left the camp, the turns I took, but literally where the rhino is, it's a very famous area because it's a breeding area.
Okay.
So for guys when they're looking for rhino, and these are black rhinos, so they're territorial. So you know where to within a territory, you know at least a search area where you start looking for them.
Yeah.
So literally, I got the rhino. I don't know where I am. So the radio, I'm trying to tell them where I am. It's so much noise. So one guy says like, let's just give him a second. Let him tell us where he is. So I am able to give the direction and I left the car. I moved, and then I got it. Someone knows exactly where it is. So he actually says the name of where it is.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone is like, okay, now we know. So everyone heads there. And since majority of them are very far from where I am, so
Yeah.
I'm like, so you guys know the location
yeah.
where you can come and start searching for it.
Yeah.
I continue. So out of the big five, I've just gotten one.
Yes.
So I continue with my drive. I get another big, another member of the big five. That's a leopard.
Yeah.
I have no idea again where I am. So the norm, since me and my guests have already enjoyed, so I radio call it. I start explaining to where another guy says, "Oh my God, the same guy who doesn't know where he is." What is happening today? Can someone who has knowledge of the destination actually explain
To us, yes.
to us, or at least to be the first person to actually get the sighting?
Yeah.
So I tried to do my best of my knowledge again, explaining to them when I left the rhino sighting,
Yes.
the direction I took,
Yes.
and where I actually went to look for the leopard and where I got.
Yes.
So another different guide actually knows exactly the location because again leopards are territorial.
Yeah.
So I continue. So out of the big five, we already have like the two of them. So mostly in the big five, we have animals that are really hard to get. So
Well, what about going back to the lodge?
that will come. That will come later.
Okay.
So again, I continued my drive. So apparently on that day, I don't know if nature had gang itself
Yes.
to me or whatever was happening, it was just something extraordinary, and I call it extraordinary for these things are gonna be explained.
Yes.
So I continue with my drive. I get a very big group of a pride of lions.
Yeah.
I get to enjoy them. So when I get to enjoy them, once I'm done,
Yeah.
the rule of thumb, I radio commit.
Yes.
Oh, the first guy who said that, him again, I was like, now at this point, I'm like, I don't know if it's a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
But my guests are having the best American. They're like, this guy, he's the best. He knows everything.
Not knowing that there's something awaiting them.
This guy literally
doesn't know how to go back to the
something.
Yeah.
He's just operating in something that is just
mystical. Yeah.
mystical and incredible.
Uh-oh.
So I continue. So this is again. So they come, the guys know someone they call it and know exactly what the location is. And guys from different directions they come to where this sighting was.
Yeah.
So now as I continue with my drive, it is during the wildebeest migration.
Oh.
And you know wildebeest migration is the eighth wonder of the world, and it actually attracts everyone all over the world, from journalists to guys who are doing documentaries, photographers. It's just one of its own.
Yeah.
So I go to a spot. Actually, in that spot, they usually have a crossing.
Yeah.
So that place is called John Carter.
Yeah.
So within John Carter, so I just bumped wildebeest zebras. They're in hundreds of thousands and they're crossing. So with that one, I can't wait to experience and just I recall it immediately.
Yes.
And I recall it immediately. So when I recall it immediately, everyone is like, oh my God, this guy again. This is not happening.
Yeah.
What is he doing? What did he do in the morning that he's not doing?
Yes.
So everyone with the rush and calm. So everyone, at least I would say 75% of the guys got there and they were able to experience the river crossing, which is actually the eighth one of the world. So we experienced that. Now I'm like, now I can relax. I've done this. My guests have had a 10 over 10.
Yes.
So now it's time to look for a tree. I pitch the tent. Look for a nice acacia tree. I set for them for their lunch. We have an incredible lunch. We start reminiscing about the experience from the morning,
Yes.
everything. But now the drama is waiting for us.
That's about to happen. Yes.
It's almost like around 2:30, and we start now heading back to the hotel.
Yes.
So before we head to the hotel, I hear again to the radio, there's another crossing. And the crossing is happening in a section of the Mara River, we call it the U. So I'm like, wow, I need to rush there. So I don't know where the place is, but I'm following the convoy. Now that's where the drama starts to unfold.
You're just following them like wildebeest also.
Following them like wildebeest. And we get the sighting, they cross the river, we get another. That was just like a cherry on top. Now it's time to go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
When it's time to go back to the hotel, everyone is coming from different camp, different lodges, and everyone goes in different directions, depending which is the easiest route
to take you back. Yes.
Accommodation.
Yeah.
Myself, everyone dispersed. I'm left in the middle and wondering, what the hell? Where is our hotel? I look up, I look on there. It's just mountains, trees. I have zero idea where I am.
Yeah.
So I bump into a guy and ask him, where are you going? He tells me he's going to a different direction. So I'm like, I think that's the direction
that you're going to.
we entered.
Yeah.
So I follow him. I'm not telling him I'm lost or I don't know exactly where the hotel is.
Yes.
But if I could have told him, he could have given me an easy direction.
Yes.
But I want to also show that I'm very confident and I know exactly what I'm doing.
You're a pro.
I'm a pro. Oh God, I learned the hard way. So I follow this guy. So he enters into their hotel. Apparently, the hotel is almost similar like ours.
Oh.
It's like entering into a bush, then there's your lodge. So I enter with him, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is not our hotel. And the guests are like, Frank, are you lost? Frank on safari, are you lost? I'm like, no. I'm not lost. My stomach is bad. So I want to use there.
You came up with an excuse or something, like a diversion, to divert the attention.
Very fast.
Yes.
And actually, I just bought it. So I enter into
And then you ask for the direction.
I will wait for like 2 minutes and then come back and then ask for the direction. Then from the hotel, I start driving now towards our hotel. I literally got very late, around 7:30, which basically I was supposed to, back then, we were supposed to be in the lodge at around 7 p.m. So I'm 30 minutes later. So as I'm driving back, we start spotting some nocturnals.
Wow.
So this is something.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Blessing in this extraordinary. I've been getting some incredible sightings.
Yes.
It's my first time. Some of the most experienced guys that have much experience than me, they've actually been using my sightings.
Yes.
Coming back, I start spotting the nocturnals. So this nocturnal that I'm spotting, there are things that you read in the books, but because you in that destination you don't do night game drive, so you don't even pay so much attention. So the guess I'm like, that's a caracal, and then I go blank. I have no information.
Yeah, because first of all, you've never seen it live.
I've never seen it live.
You only read about it.
I've read about it, but I haven't paid so much attention to it because it's not the normal sighting you get.
Yes.
And by the time I get to the camp, they've spotted like 3 nocturnals.
Wow.
So getting to the camp, the guests are like telling everyone.
Well, what you see. So they forget that they're, getting lost and everything.
But deep down, I know this was an extraordinary experience from my first time. But going forward was like, it's always nice to.
For me, I say a win is a win. No matter how you win, a win is a win.
A win is a win.
Whether you get lost or whatever, no matter how you see the animal, you've seen them.
I'm sure you also have an experience.
Yeah, actually, my experience was bad because when I first had my game drive, it was in a conservancy. It was an endless plains of savanna plains, and it was an afternoon game drive, so there was little time. So I had just made like 2 turns, only 2. That's about 1 kilometer from the lodge, and then I was disoriented. Every place looked similar. I did not know where I was. I couldn't even tell the direction of the lodge. But I did not want to tell my guests that I'm actually lost within the first 1 hour. I was lost, completely lost. I did not know west, east, south, north, no. And then to make it worse, it started raining. And then it got dark within 20 minutes. It was dark. And then I started going round and round in circles. So I went to 1 circle and then came back to the same spot. And then I did another circle again, came back to the same spot. And I was open and frank with them.
And I know that at that moment, it doesn't give you any bonus points.
I do not care. I only care about getting back to the lodge because it is getting dark and it's raining, and I also don't want to get stuck. So luckily, I had a cell phone. And then in my cell phone, I marked in marked the location of the lodge. But the thing in the wilderness is that there's no road. So Google will not tell you that follow this road. You only see a small spot, like a small dot where the lodge is. But there is no road taking you there. So for me, I just looked for the direction towards where the dot was.
That was very smart.
So what I did, as I moved closer to the dot, I reached a dead end. Because the map was telling me 2 minutes, but where I was, there was no road. So I do not know where the fence is or where the gate is. I don't know where everything is. And then it is pitch dark, and I'm also getting stuck. I'm almost getting stuck. So I had to call the lodge, and I told them, please send a driver and let the driver put on full light So I can see where the direction of the light is coming from. Then I follow that direction. And that is what I did. And within 2 minutes of seeing the lights, actually I was very close to where the gate was, but I couldn't tell because it was pitch black. I couldn't tell anything. And I was also disoriented because I've been going round and round and round in circles. Nazunguka tu one place is coming back.
Circle of life, circle of life.
So eventually we made it after 2 hours of back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
But all in all, that was my first experience in the wild.
Wow.
Anyway, that is life. In every profession, there is always a first time. So whenever you find yourself in such kind of situation, don't panic. Just find a way around it. Because that is life in every profession. Even a doctor sometimes, during the first patient, they normally make some mistakes. Go like this. Oh. That's why we here. When we are all here, our friends will be drinking our beer. Yeah?
Perfect.
You're telling me about some of the guest guest expectation. You were telling me that were they expecting too much or they were just having their own thing in their mind?
I think on this one they had their own thing on their mind.
Yeah.
Because we just picked them from the international airport.
Yeah.
Driving back, we were driving to our destination. Apparently, our first destination was in Naivasha.
Yeah.
I think Naivasha is very famous because one of the scenes that has actually been documented from the movie Lion King.
Yes.
So we went to that destination, and the thing is that I was going to experience one of my longest safari because these guests had their just different nature.
Yes.
So basically, they had their Google map, and in Africa, most of the roads are not updated in the map. Some of the places are not being actually being closed. So on this.
So they had Google Maps on a game drive?
Yep.
So that was Google Drive, not a game drive.
Not a game drive.
Google Drive.
So imagine having your guess what on Google Drive and expecting to experience a game drive.
Yeah. So there is no that authentic safari experience.
It's not authentic experience.
Oh,
then at the same time, it's also difficult because one, I'm the one who's experienced on this terrain.
Yes.
I know some of the roads, their conditions. I know some of the roads that have actually been closed but have not been updated on the map. Some of the roads are actually do not exist anymore. So on this one, we're just I'm doing a game drive. They are doing a Google Drive, and I'm here trying to look for the animals. And they are like basically, no, Frank, you know what? You need to stop. So let's stop here because it's written out of Africa. So let's stop here and just wait for the animals to pass. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, stop here, wait for animal to pass.
And it's not a zoo.
It's not a zoo.
It's a reserve. It's like hundreds of kilometers.
Exactly. So I basically had to stop the jeep, had to look back, I had to re-explain to them again. So that I thought my first explanation of the to-dos and everything, maybe they didn't hear it well. So I had to redo it again. So actually redo it again. I tell them actually in the zone that we are, this is some of the animals that we anticipate to see. But it's not like if we stay here, they're actually gonna pass in front of us and we get an opportunity to actually get a snapshot of them. But not really. So what we have to do, we have to continue the drive. So it is a couple. So the wife says, leave the gentleman to actually do his job, his experience. He's been doing this for a very long time.
Yes.
And the husband is like, no, I have a map and this is what the map says. So I'm like, the wife comes into my
Rescue.
and there's like, they go with a conversation between them. And basically the guy comes and says, okay Frank, let's do it your way. So literally we just wasted like an hour of Google Drive and now we have like an hour, 30 minutes of doing now game.
Right.
So within that opportunity of window, also we have to be back in the camp
Yes.
at around 6:30, so that we don't get ourselves into trouble with the game rangers.
Yeah, actually, I'm really saddened by your experience because some guests they think that they forget that Africa is the theater of the wild, and it's not. Google doesn't have a Google game reserve.
Nah.
It is not. It is a natural game reserve, not a Google game reserve, where you can do everything with Google Map, and then Google Map will tell you, oh, the lion is there, the cheetah is here. No, it is the part of the game drive is looking for animals, right?
Exactly.
Yes, and that is part of the authentic safari experience that most people are looking for. I know you've talked about what we just termed Google Drive. I know many tourists or many outbound travelers, when they come to Africa, in their country, they believe so much in technology, forgetting that Africa is largely wild destinations and safari destinations in Africa. Most of them are natural, and the ecosystem is pure, and everything is natural. So when they come, they still think that technology should apply anywhere and everywhere, not knowing that for a safari experience, the human touch is very important. So you're telling me about something. There's something you're saying about that.
Yes. So basically, again, I was in another different destination.
Yeah.
This was in the Savo. You know, Savo is
Yeah,
a
Savo is
theater.
vast,
It's vast, man.
Yes.
It's the theater of wine.
Yes.
And
The
it's
true definition
the
of that.
true definition of theater of
Yeah.
wine. So in Savo,
That was Savo East or West?
that was Savo East.
Wow.
Savo
East
East,
massive,
it's
huh?
huge, massive.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So we have these places that are there, like, so Frank, it's vast.
Yes.
Why don't you, and we are in 21st century, why don't you guys just color these animals that when you're doing the game drive, we just know where the lion is, where the elephant is, where the kudu is, and I'm like, if we did that, then it will not be a game drive.
Yeah.
So I had literally to explain to them that mostly when you're on drive, because we again got to spot and some of these, it was a pride of lions, and one of the females had a collar. So basically the collar was for the game rangers and also the scientists to monitor it so
Yes.
that they can avoid human wildlife conflict.
Yes.
But for these guys, it was like, nah, why don't we use this 21st century? And I was telling them that no, otherwise it will be too easy and it will not be game drive. Because game drive is basically, it's wild. Nothing is guaranteed. It's basically looking here and there.
Yeah, I also don't like seeing a lion with a tag and then an elephant with a tag. Ah, it's like a fashion show. I don't like it.
It's too easy. The guests were like that. And then, funny enough, I remember another guest.
Yeah.
Technology is actually very good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you come in the wildlife and when you come in nature, some of the things technology will actually fail to predict.
Yeah.
So I remember this time, the client looked at the weather forecast using their mobile phone and tell me it's going to be very sunny. So we have to go for an evening game drive and we have to go very far. I'm like, I look at the clouds, I know the shifting of how the clouds are going to shift, and I tell the guest, nah, it's going to rain. So he told me, no, I know I'm in Africa, you guys are rainmakers and stuff, but no, I'm not believing that it's going to be actually very sunny. My gut feelings knows that it's actually going to rain. So we basically go for the evening, and just 30 minutes into the drive, it pours.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally poured. Helter-skelter.
Yes.
And he was like, he got angry at me. He was like, you boss, you're the one who was ready for this.
So you made it rain.
Yes, all of a sudden it was such a big problem that it literally, he thought I literally made it rain. But literally it was just...
If it were me, I would have told him, I am the rainmaker. So you better believe that. Wow, nice. Anyway, those are the stories that tour guides go through and they experience during their day-to-day activities in the wild. trying to showcase the best of Africa and the natural part of Africa. So, viewers, kindly check my YouTube channel for the rest of the story and follow for more episodes.